Hello, and welcome. This is the Natural English Podcast. I am Alex. I'm very happy you are here with us today.
And I am Sarah. Hi, thanks for listening with us. Take a slow breath, relax, and just listen.
Where are you now? Are you at home, in your room or your kitchen? Maybe you are on a train, or walking outside, or cleaning your house. Wherever you are, it is okay. Just listen. You do not need to understand every word.
Yeah, you can just let the English come to your ears. If you want, you can speak with us later. You can repeat after us.
Today, we talk about tools, small tools in your home, and I have a little listening challenge for you. So, in this episode, listen for one important word. Screwdriver. Again, the word is screwdriver.
Screwdriver. Nice and slow. Screw-driver. When you hear this word in the episode, just smile or say in your head, "Oh, I heard it."
And I have one simple question for you. At the end of the episode, I will ask, what tool do I use to fix a loose chair? So, while you listen, try to catch the answer. I repeat the question. What tool do I use to fix a loose chair?
Do not worry, we will say it slowly. You will hear the tool in our story. Just relax and enjoy the English.
So, let us start with a small home problem. I am in my kitchen. I sit down on my chair, and the chair moves. It is wobbly. It moves from side to side. I think, oh no, my chair is not safe.
Yeah, I know that feeling. You sit, and the chair feels a little funny, not strong, a little loose.
Exactly. So I look under the chair and I see a problem. A small metal thing is not tight. I need a tool, but I do not know the name in English. I can see the tool in my mind, but the English word is gone. Do you have this problem too? Do you sometimes need a tool, but you cannot say the name in English?
I think many people feel like that. You know words like spoon and fork, that is easy. But tool words like hammer or scissors, they are more difficult to remember.
Yeah, exactly. So in this episode, we want to help with that. We will stay in the home, and we will stay with very simple tools.
Today, you will learn the names of common tools you really use at home and simple ways to say what you use them for. For example, I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall, or I use scissors to cut paper.
So, you use a hammer for the wall and scissors for paper. Simple, useful, daily life English.
Yes, not many words, but very practical words. Things you can say when you fix something or open something in your house.
Let me give you a small roadmap. First, you will hear some tool names in an easy home story. Just a normal day at home, with little problems. Then, we will show you simple patterns. Like, I use a tool to do something, and after that, you can practice speaking with us. We will pause so you can repeat.
And we will talk about real home situations, like a loose table or a picture that is falling down, or when you need to put batteries in a remote. Normal things.
So, remember the two things for now. 1. Listen for the word screwdriver. 2. Try to find the answer to this question. What tool do I use to fix a loose chair?
Just keep that question in your head while you listen. The answer is in our story.
Okay, let us go into my home now and look at some tools together. I open the door, I walk inside, and I look around the room. Sarah, when you walk into your home, what tools do you see first? So, Sarah, now we are in our imaginary home, right?
Yes, we can imagine a small home, and we can look for tools in the rooms.
Okay. Nice. I open a kitchen drawer in my mind. I see many things, but I do not know the names in English. So, what is this tool? The one for cutting paper?
Ah, yes. These are called scissors. You cut paper with scissors.
Scissors. Let me try to say it slowly. Listener, you can say it with me. Scissors. Scissors.
Good. And one more time, a little faster. Scissors.
Scissors. Okay. So, scissors are a tool. I use scissors to cut paper, right?
Yes, exactly. Simple and clear. Scissors. For cutting paper or maybe thin plastic or a small bag of food.
Let me try a textbook-style sentence. This object is for cutting materials with two connected metal parts.
That sounds like a robot or a dictionary. In normal life, you can just say, "These are scissors. I use scissors to cut paper. Short is good."
Right. Simple is better. Okay, I look in the same drawer. I see a small roll. It is sticky, and I can use it to stick paper or a box. What do you call this in English?
That is tape. Tape. T-A-P-E. Tape. You can use tape to stick things together.
Tape. Listener, say it with me. Tape.
Good. One more time. Tape.
Tape. So I can say, this is tape. I use tape to close a box. Something like that.
Yes, that is perfect. Very natural, tape. For closing a box or fixing a small paper problem.
Okay, so in my kitchen drawer, I have scissors and tape. And, oh, I see a small thing with metal and a little cross at the top. I think it is for turning nails?
Not nails. Careful here. That one is for turning screws. It is a small screwdriver.
Ah, right. I always mix those. I want to say scissors. But no, that is wrong. Screwdriver.
Good fix. So the new word is screwdriver. Screwdriver. It is a tool to turn screws.
Listener, let us say it together. Screwdriver.
Nice. And one natural sentence is, a screwdriver is a tool. You turn screws with a screwdriver.
A screwdriver is a tool. You turn screws with a screwdriver. Okay, that feels good in my mouth now.
Great. So in that one kitchen drawer, we already have 3 useful tools: scissors, tape, and a small screwdriver.
Yeah, I like that. Just 3, very clear. Now we know some names of tools, but how can I talk about them in a full sentence? How can I explain what I use them for?
Good question. Let us learn one easy pattern to talk about tools and what you do with them in the next part.
Okay, Sarah. So now I know some tool names: hammer, screwdriver, scissors, tape, flashlight. But I want to say what I do with them. Like, what do I do with a screwdriver?
Nice, Alex. Yeah, that is the next step. Not only the name, but also how you use it. We can use one very easy pattern. It is, I use plus the tool, plus a verb. For example, I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall.
I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall. Yeah, that feels clear. Can you slow it down and break it into small parts?
Sure, listen. First part, I use. Second part, a hammer. Third part, to. Fourth part, a verb. So together, I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall.
I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall. Okay, so the pattern is, I use a tool to verb.
Exactly. And we keep the verb very simple, like cut, open, fix, turn, hang, measure, find. All easy action words. Let us try another tool. Scissors. Listen. I use scissors to cut paper.
I use scissors to cut paper. That sounds very natural. So again, I use scissors to cut paper.
Yes, and notice one tiny thing. We say a hammer, but we say just scissors, no A. So, I use a hammer, but I use scissors. We do the same with pliers. I use pliers to fix something small.
Okay. A hammer, but scissors, pliers, no A. Good to hear it in examples, not rules. Can we do more tools with this pattern?
Yes, let us go through some tools we had before. Listen and feel the rhythm. I use tape to fix a small tear in paper. So maybe your book has a little rip. You can say, I use tape to fix a small tear in paper.
I use tape to fix a small tear in paper. Yeah, I can see that. A page is broken a little bit. I use tape to fix it.
Good. Next one. Flashlight. New word for today, maybe. A flashlight is a small light you can hold in your hand. You use it when it is dark. So listen. I use a flashlight to find things in the dark.
Right, flashlight. Hand light. I use a flashlight to find things in the dark, like I drop my keys under the bed. I use a flashlight to find them.
Exactly. Next tool, screwdriver. Listen to the pattern. I use a screwdriver to fix a loose chair. Loose here means it moves too much, it is not tight. So, I use a screwdriver to fix a loose chair.
I use a screwdriver to fix a loose chair. In my home, I have a loose door, not a chair. So maybe I use a screwdriver to fix a loose door.
Perfect change. Same pattern, just a new object. Chair, door, table, it is all okay. I use a screwdriver to fix a loose table. Same idea.
So I can play with the last part. Fix a loose door, fix a loose table, fix a loose drawer, but the first part stays. I use a screwdriver to...
Yes, exactly. One more useful verb is hang. Hang means you put something on a wall. For example, a picture. So we can say, I use a hammer to hang a picture. Or, I use a hammer to hang a photo on the wall.
I use a hammer to hang a picture. That feels very common. In a new home, first day, I use a hammer to hang pictures.
Nice image. Another helpful verb is measure. New word here. Measure means find how long, how high, how wide something is. You can say, I use a tape measure to measure a table. Maybe you want to buy a table. You want to know the size.
Okay, measure. Check the size. I use a tape measure to measure a table. That is clear. I use a tape measure to measure the wall too, right?
Yes, that is right. Same pattern again. I use a tape measure to measure the wall. So now you heard many tools with the same kind of sentence. I use tool, to, verb, object.
Okay, I want to try one by myself now. Let me think. Hammer and nails. Maybe. I use hammer for hit nail.
Nice try, Alex. Very close. Listen to the small changes. I use a hammer to hit a nail. So we add a hammer. We say to, not for, and we keep the verb simple. To hit, not for hit.
Okay. So I use a hammer to hit a nail, not I use hammer for hit nail. Got it. Can I try scissors too?
Sure, go ahead.
Maybe. I use a scissors for cutting paper.
Again, this is very close. Here is the natural way. I use scissors to cut paper. So, no A with scissors. And we say to cut, not for cutting. I use scissors to cut paper.
I use scissors to cut paper. Yeah, that feels smoother. So, I use a hammer to hit a nail. I use scissors to cut paper.
Perfect. Now, sometimes learners read very heavy sentences from a textbook, like, I utilize a hammer for the purpose of hitting nails. It sounds very robot, very formal.
Yeah, that sounds like a robot or a science book. I utilize a hammer for the purpose of hitting nails.
Exactly. But in real life, people just say, I use a hammer to hit nails. Simple, friendly, natural. So remember, use, and to, plus the verb. I use a hammer to hit nails.
So the good pattern is, I use a tool to and then verb. I use a screwdriver to fix a loose door. I use a flashlight to find things in the dark. I use tape to fix a small tear in paper.
Yes, that is it. You have the pattern now. We will not ask you, the listener, to speak a lot yet, but soon we will practice this pattern together. We will play a little game with tools and this sentence.
Yeah, I feel this pattern is easy, but I need practice. Maybe we can do a small practice game next time, like, which tool do I need? And then we make a short sentence with I use to.
That sounds perfect. In the next part, let us play a very simple game. Which tool do I need? You and our listener can choose the right tool and say one short sentence with this pattern.
So, now, let's practice together.
Yes, now it is your turn. We will play a small game.
You will hear a simple home problem, something in the house.
Then you think, or you say the sentence out loud.
We use one easy pattern. Listen.
I use a tool to do something. For example, I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall.
Right, I use a tool to do something.
Okay. First, I say the problem. Then I ask, which tool do you need?
You have a pause. You can think. You can speak. You can maybe whisper.
After the pause, we say the answer. Then you repeat after me. Slow and easy.
Okay, let's start. Problem number 1.
The picture on the wall is falling down. You need to put a nail in the wall.
So, my picture is falling. I want to put a nail in the wall.
Which tool do you need?
Think now, or say it. I use a tool to.
Pause.
I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall.
Listen again, then repeat. I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall.
Now you. Repeat. I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall.
Pause.
Nice. Okay, problem number 2.
Your chair is loose. One leg of the chair moves a lot. It is not strong.
So my chair is not safe. I want to make the chair strong again.
Which tool do you need?
Think. I use a what to fix my chair? I use a screwdriver to fix my chair.
Screwdriver. This is a tool to turn small metal things, screws. One more time. I use a screwdriver to fix my chair.
Now you. Repeat. I use a screwdriver to fix my chair.
Pause.
Good. Problem number 3 now.
The room is very dark. You cannot see anything. You want to see in the dark.
So, my room is dark. I want to see.
Which tool do you need?
Maybe. I use a hammer to see in the dark.
A hammer to see in the dark? No!
Yeah, that is not good. If I use a hammer to see in the dark, I still cannot see. I just hit the wall.
Right. So, listen. You use a flashlight to see in the dark. A flashlight is a small light you hold in your hand.
Okay, the correct sentence is, I use a flashlight to see in the dark.
Now you. Repeat slowly. I use a flashlight to see in the dark.
Pause.
Good. Next problem.
You have a box. The box will not open. You want to cut the tape on the box.
So, there is a box with tape. You want to open the box.
Which tool do you need?
Think now. I use a what to open the box?
Pause.
The best tool is a knife or a cutter. Listen, I use a knife to open the box.
Repeat with us. I use a knife to open the box.
Pause.
Okay. Next one is easy. You have a piece of paper. You want to cut the paper in 2.
So, you have paper and you want to cut the paper.
Which tool do you need?
Think. I use what to cut paper?
Pause.
You use scissors. Listen, I use scissors to cut paper.
Now you, say it. I use scissors to cut paper.
Pause.
Great. Problem number 5.
Your child's toy does not work. The batteries are dead. You want to open the back of the toy and change the batteries.
So, the toy stops. You want to open it and put in new batteries.
Which tool do you need?
Think, I use a tool to open the toy.
Pause.
You can say, I use a screwdriver to open the toy.
Yes, repeat after me. I use a screwdriver to open the toy.
You pause.
Now I want to tell a small story. A little awkward moment.
Oh yes, my story in the big home store.
Go slowly so the listener can follow.
Okay. One day I went to a home store. I needed a screwdriver, but I did not know the word in English. I forgot.
So what did you say?
I said to the worker, I need a tool for turn the thing, not a hammer. And I moved my hand like this. Turn, turn, turn.
Nice. Your English was not perfect, but it worked.
Yes. The worker laughed a little and said, oh, a screwdriver, okay. And he helped me.
We can make your sentence more natural. Listen, can you help me? I need a screwdriver to fix my chair.
That is much better. So smooth.
You can use this idea. Even if you forget the tool word, you can still explain it. You can say, I need a tool to open this, or I need a tool to cut this.
Right. The pattern is your friend. I use a tool to do something.
Let's say 2 more practice sentences together, very slow.
First one, listen, I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall.
Now I use a hammer to put a nail in the wall.
Pause.
Second one, listen, I use scissors to cut paper.
Now I use scissors to cut paper.
Pause it.
Now I feel better. I can choose a tool and make a sentence.
Yes, you can do that with many tools. So, next, let's think about tools in your home and in my home.
And we will help you think about your home too. Your real life, your real tools. So, now I want to talk about tools in my home and in your home.
Yeah. This part is about you, about your real life, your real house or apartment.
I will start with my home, very simple, very slow. In my kitchen drawer, I have scissors. I use scissors to open packages, like food packages and small boxes.
Okay, so in your kitchen drawer, you have scissors. You use them to open packages.
Yes, and in my living room, on a small shelf, I have a flashlight. I use a flashlight to look under the sofa when something falls down, maybe my keys or a toy.
Right. So your flashlight is in the living room, on a small shelf. You use it to find things under the sofa.
And in my bedroom closet, I have a toolbox. Inside the toolbox, I have a hammer. I use a hammer to hang pictures on the wall. I also have a screwdriver. I use a screwdriver to fix loose screws on chairs or on the table.
Okay, good. So kitchen drawer, scissors, living room shelf, flashlight, bedroom closet, toolbox, hammer and screwdriver. Very clear.
Yeah, so that is my home. Now, how about you, Sarah? What tools do you have at home?
In my home, I also have a toolbox. My toolbox is in the hallway closet. In my toolbox, I have a wrench. A wrench is a tool to turn metal pipes or nuts. I use a wrench to fix pipes under the sink.
A wrench. So you use a wrench to fix pipes under the sink.
Yes, and I have tape in my desk drawer. I use tape to close boxes and sometimes to fix paper or small things. I also have a screwdriver on my desk. I use my screwdriver a lot. I fix chairs and small things in the house.
So for you, the screwdriver is very important.
Yes, I use my screwdriver many times. It is my #1 tool at home.
Now, I want to talk to you. Listening. Think about your home, your real home. Do you have a hammer at home? Yes or no? I will wait. Just think the answer.
Okay. Now, where is it? Is your hammer in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the garage, or maybe in a closet?
Listen to this model. In my home, my hammer is in the garage. I use a hammer to hang pictures. One more time, slowly. In my home, my hammer is in the garage. I use a hammer to hang pictures.
Now you try. You can say, in my home, my hammer is in the, and say your place. Then say, I use a hammer to, and say your action. Hang pictures, or fix something, or maybe a different thing.
And if you do not have a hammer, that is okay. You can say, I do not have a hammer at home. Very simple. I do not have a hammer at home.
Good. Now, scissors. Do you have scissors at home? Yes or no? Just answer in your head or say it out loud.
Where are your scissors? Are they in the kitchen? In your bag? On your desk? Listen to my sentence. In my home, my scissors are in the kitchen drawer. I use scissors to open packages.
Now copy me, but change it for you. Say, in my home, my scissors are in the, and say your place. Then say, I use scissors to, and say your action. Maybe cut paper, open bags, cut tape.
Next one, flashlight. Do you have a flashlight at home? Maybe on your phone or a real one in a drawer? Just think, yes or no.
If you have a flashlight, try this pattern. In my home, my flashlight is in the, say your place. I use a flashlight to say your action, maybe to look under the bed, to walk in the dark, or to find something outside at night.
And again, if you do not have a flashlight, that is fine. You can say, I do not have a flashlight at home. That is also good English.
Let us try one more tool. Tape. Do you have tape at home? Yes or no?
If your answer is yes, think. Where is your tape? In a drawer? On your desk? In a box?
I will give you one model. In my home, my tape is in my desk drawer. I use tape to close boxes. Okay, now you say your own sentence. In my home, my tape is in the, I use tape to.
To help you more, here is a very simple frame. Listen, I have a, and say a tool. I use it to, and say what you do. Again, I have a, I use it to.
Now you can play with it. For example, I have a screwdriver. I use it to fix chairs. Or I have a flashlight. I use it to find my keys in the dark. You can change the tool and change the action.
Sometimes I make a mistake with tools at home. One day, I wanted to fix a chair. There was a screw, but I could not find my screwdriver, so I tried to use scissors to turn the screw. It did not work. It was a bad idea.
Oh no. Yeah. Scissors cannot do the job of a screwdriver. The right tool is important. When you know the tool name in English, you can ask someone, can I use your screwdriver? Or, do you have a wrench? It is easier to get help.
So, now you talked about tools in your home, in your mind. Maybe you really said the sentences. That is great practice.
We talked about tools in your home, in Alex's home, and in my home. I think it is time to review what we learned today. In the next part, we will quickly repeat the key words and the main sentence pattern so you can remember them.
So, we are at the end of this episode of the Natural English Podcast now. Today, you learned how to say the names of some common tools, and you practiced easy sentences like, I use a hammer to hang a picture.
You did a lot today. Before we say goodbye, let's do a quick review together. Just a short one. We will say the tools again, and you can repeat after us. Nice and slow.
Okay, get ready to speak. Take a small breath. Relax your shoulders. All right, let's say the tool words one more time.
Repeat after me. hammer, C, screwdriver, E, scissors, my flashlight, batteries, T, wrench, P.
Good. Now I say them too with you. You can repeat again if you like. Hammer to screwdriver, scissors, tape, glue, flashlight, more, batteries, more, wrench, pliers.
Nice. So we also had one very useful pattern today. The pattern was I use a tool to verb. I use something to do something. Let's say 2 or 3 examples again.
Listen first, then you can repeat. I use a hammer to hang a picture. One more time. I use a hammer to hang a picture.
And another one. I use a screwdriver to fix a chair. Again. I use a screwdriver to fix a chair.
Now let's mix it a little. I use scissors to cut paper. Again, I use scissors to cut paper. You can pause the podcast and say these 3 sentences many times if you want.
Okay. Do you remember our little question from the beginning of the episode? The listening challenge? Alex had a problem with a loose chair. The chair was not strong. It was moving.
Right. So my question was, what tool do I use to fix a loose chair? Think for a moment. What tool do I use to fix a loose chair?
Maybe you said it already. Let's hear the answer now. Listen to Alex, and then you can repeat after him.
Here is the answer. I use a screwdriver to fix a loose chair. One more time. I use a screwdriver to fix a loose chair. Ow.
Now it's your turn. Say it with me. I use a screwdriver to fix a loose chair. Good. You are really using English now, not just listening.
Before we finish, we have a small real-life challenge for you. Very small, very easy, but powerful. Powerful means it can really help you. It is strong for your English.
Here's the first part. Today, look in one room in your home. Just one room. Maybe the kitchen. Maybe the living room. Maybe a bedroom. Find one tool there.
When you find your tool, say one sentence in English. Use our pattern. I use a tool to action. For example, I use a flashlight to see in the dark, or I use tape to close a box.
You can choose your own sentence. Maybe I use a hammer to hang a picture, or I use scissors to cut paper. Just one room, one tool, one sentence, that's all.
And here is a second extra idea. If you go to a store or talk to a friend or family member, try to use just one tool word in English. Only one. You can say it in your country, in your language, but add one English word, like, "This is my new hammer," or "Do we have a flashlight?"
It does not have to be perfect. It is just a little practice, a tiny step. But many tiny steps make big progress over time. Progress just means you move forward, you get better.
And mistakes are totally okay. You heard my funny stories with tools in this episode. I am not a tool expert. I often choose the wrong tool first, but I try, and then I learn.
Yes, please remember this. Mistakes are normal. Mistakes mean you are doing something. You are learning. So, do not wait for perfect English. Use your English now, even if it is simple.
If you want more practice, you can listen to this episode again. Pause after the examples. Repeat the tool names. Repeat the sentences. Your mouth and your ears will learn together.
And you can also try other episodes of the Natural English podcast. We talk about many small, everyday situations, things you really do in your life. Step by step, your English will grow.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today, and for practicing English with us.
Yes, thank you for listening and for speaking. and for trying. We are proud of your effort.
This was Alex.
And this was Sarah.
See you in another episode of the Natural English Podcast.
Bye for now, and keep using your English every day.